The hum of jet engines echoed through the darkness. A passport stamp struck paper somewhere beyond view. A scanner emitted a brief electronic tone before silence returned. Then a narrator's voice emerged. On a quiet night at an international airport, an immigration officer approved a traveler who officially did not exist. Rain streaked across the glass walls of a major international airport shortly after midnight. Aircraft lights shimmered across wet tarmac as arriving passengers moved steadily through immigration checkpoints beneath bright fluorescent lighting. Monitors glowed overhead. Public announcements echoed through the terminal. To everyone present, it appeared to be another ordinary night. Among the officers on duty was David Mercer, a veteran immigration officer with more than 2 decades of experience. During 23 years in border control, he had built a reputation for precision, professionalism, and reliability. He had never been disciplined, never failed an audit, and never knowingly approved a fraudulent traveler. Years later, Mercer would reflect on that night during an interview. "I'd processed thousands of passengers over the years," he recalled. "Nothing about that particular traveler stood out to me at the time." At approximately 1:42 a.m., Mercer was stationed at Immigration, Booth 12 inside the arrivals hall. The overnight shift was progressing routinely. Hundreds of international passengers were arriving from overseas destinations. Fatigue lingered throughout the terminal, but operations remained normal. Then a traveler stepped forward. The individual appeared to be in their late 30s. They wore a dark coat and carried a small travel bag. Their demeanor was calm and composed. Nothing about their appearance attracted attention. They seemed exactly like the countless travelers who pass through the airport every day. Mercer accepted the passport and placed on the scanner. The system immediately responded. The biometric chip activated successfully. The digital photograph matched the person standing before him. No alerts appeared. No restrictions were identified. No warnings were issued. Everything indicated that the document was authentic. "Purpose of your visit?" Mercer asked. "Business," the traveler replied. 3 days. "Where will you be staying?" "Central District. I have a meeting with a client." The answers were clear, confident, and entirely unremarkable. Mercer noticed nothing suspicious in the traveler's tone or behavior. The interaction lasted less than 90 seconds. Satisfied with the results, he stamped the passport. The traveler thanked him, collected the document, and continued beyond the checkpoint into the country. For Mercer, it was one of hundreds of routine approvals completed during the shift. He never expected to think about that traveler again. 6 hours later, an internal audit was underway. Such reviews occurred regularly and were considered standard procedure. A software reconciliation process compared immigration records across multiple databases. At first, analysts assumed the unusual alert appearing on their screens was a technical anomaly. Then additional alerts appeared. Supervisors requested that Mercer report to a secure office. When he arrived, several officials were gathered around a conference table. A printed report lay before them. One entry had been highlighted in red. His entry, the approval from earlier that night. A supervisor looked directly at him. "Do you remember this passenger?" he asked. "Not particularly," Mercer replied. "Why?" Without answering immediately, the supervisor slid another document across the table. Mercer examined the report. Then he read it again. The expression on his face changed. "We can't find this person," the supervisor said. Mercer frowned. "What do you mean you can't find them?" "I mean nowhere. There are no citizenship records, no birth registration, no issuing authority, no passport history. No government database contains any evidence that this individual exists." The room fell silent. Mercer stared at the documents before him. The conclusion was impossible. He had spoken directly to the traveler. He had inspected the passport. The system had approved the document. The cameras had recorded the interaction. The border had legally admitted the individual into the country. Yet according to every available record, the traveler did not exist. And if the traveler never existed, who crossed the border that night?